Let's talk about how to not be broke in your 20s. I wanted to share 7 tips with you guys that have helped me really take a hold of my finances and feel like I'm figuring it out in my 20s, when I feel like a lot of people are like, I'm broke in my 20s. And don't get me wrong, I would love more money. I'm not wealthy by any means, but I feel like I've gotten a handle on the stressful parts of money, and I wanted to share with you guys so I could help you. By no means is this professional advice. It's purely based on my personal experience as well as things that other people have taught me, including my parents and professionals online. So let's get into it. My number one piece of advice would be to automate any recurring payments you have. This is something that I feel like everyone says, and it really does make such a big difference. Anytime you have a reoccurring payment, whether that be student loans, credit card bills, or anything else, this is the number one way to relieve stress regarding your payment, as well as make sure that you don't miss it. If you have it automatically set up, you will never have to remember what date is this due, when do I have to do this? It'll just happen. With my student loans, I set up a monthly payment that is above the minimum, and then I'm always paying that, so I'm always paying down my loans and making sure that I'm above minimum so I'm not getting fined anything. For my credit card, I have a monthly automatic payment set up, but I always manually pay my credit card. I just feel a lot better choosing when I do it, but I have that automatic payment there as a fail-safe in case I forget one month. So I don't even really use it there, but it's there just in case I forget. Another thing I recommend automating is automate investments or deposits into savings accounts. I did this throughout college. I was paying $50 a month into my brokerage account, which is really not that much money, but the fact that every single month I was setting aside $50 without even thinking about it and investing it for my future made such a big difference, because it adds up over time. It got me in the practice of having money in my brokerage account, and it just set up good habits and made me not think about it, and I was literally building wealth for myself in the future. I've since taken that, and now that I have a full-time job and I'm out of college and everything like that, I'm putting more into my investments than I was before, but it's because I set up that habit. And now I have it where every week I have a certain amount deposited into my brokerage account, and then when I have time to think about it and decide what I want to do with it, then I manually go in and invest it. So that has helped me a lot, as well as doing automatic deposits into my savings accounts. This was really helpful when I was first building up my emergency savings account, because I would have a set amount every single 2 weeks when I would get paid that was deposited into my savings account, so I made sure that I was reaching the goal that I had set for myself for my emergency fund. It just really takes a lot of the thinking and stress away from these financial goals that you might have and helps you achieve it a lot easier. Number 2 is to live at home if you can after graduating. This one everyone says, and I did it for a year. I'm not saying you have to do it for forever. I honestly wish I did it for longer, but given my situation, it just made sense for me to move out after a year, but it saves you so much money. Rent is so expensive nowadays, especially like I'm living in Boston. Rent is so expensive, but I lived at home for a year and it allowed me to put a third of my salary into my student loans. It was crazy. I made so much progress there, and I would not have been able to do that if I was paying for rent and groceries and all of that. Obviously, that's a very privileged state to be in. I'm very grateful that my parents allowed me to do that and not pay for rent. It was very helpful, but even if you have to pay rent at home, but you can still live at home and not have those other expenses, like there are ways that it is so helpful regardless, and that was definitely the biggest like springboard for me. And I, again, wish I could have done it longer. My parents were going to be moving soon, so I wanted to be out on my own and figure it out before I was totally alone. Yeah, that would be like the biggest life changer advice, I feel like, but you can really only do that for so long, and then kind of have to fly out of the nest and figure it out yourself. Number 3, I already talked about this a little bit, but you need to build an emergency fund. Typically, people say that you should have 2 to 3 months worth of living expenses saved up in an emergency fund in case anything happens. God forbid you lose your job, or something happens in your apartment that you need to get fixed, or something like a miscellaneous expense comes up that you suddenly have to pay. This will make it so that you're not immediately stressed out of like, where am I going to find that money? And then you can build up the savings account over time after that. This was really helpful for me because I did this when I was living at home, and I had set a certain amount that I wanted to have in there, and I achieved it, and I was like, okay, this is great. And then I decided to start slowly looking for apartments with no like exact date in mind. I was like, I'll just start looking, and a really great apartment came up, and it just was like divine timing. I don't even believe in all that, but like it just was like perfect timing, and I was like, I have to jump on this. And if I didn't have my savings account, I wouldn't have been able to do that, because I owed first month's rent, last month's rent, security deposit. Like that was a lot of money to shell out all of a sudden at 22 years old. So if I didn't have my savings account, I wouldn't have been able to get this apartment. And then once I paid for that, took it out of my savings account, I rebuilt my savings account back up to where it was. So it just helps in case you have any miscellaneous expenses coming up or anything like that. You can start small, keep it at 2 to 3 months worth. Don't go crazy with your savings account because you're gonna wanna invest your money more than just savings, but make sure if you have a savings account, you do a high yield savings account because you'll get more bang for your buck in your bank account. Number 4, and this is really important and sounds irresponsible if you're not familiar with it, but pay with everything with a credit card. Caveat, you need to have the money in your account first. Do not buy things you can't afford, but as long as you can afford it, pay for it with a credit card and then pay your credit card off. This will give you cash back, credit card points, rewards. It allows you to maximize every dollar you spend. Every credit card has different offerings, so do your own research on what you want there, but paying for things with solely a credit card has saved me so much money and has given me so many different rewards, and it's just so helpful because when you pay with your debit card, you're spending $1, you're getting nothing back. But when you pay with a credit card, you could get 5% cash back. You could earn points towards flights. You could earn points towards hotels. Like, there are so many different ways that you can maximize the dollars you're already spending. And so as long as you can afford it, use a credit card. Number 5, this is definitely the hardest one, but to have multiple streams of income. Having a salary is great, but if you're able to diversify your income, it makes you more stable, kind of just because you have money coming in different ways. It also supplements some of your spending if you have additional income outside of your salary. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but there are so many videos about this out there. I have found that it's super helpful. Some of my favorites are doing content creation. This has helped me so much, and it's so much more lucrative than people think, even if you don't have a big platform. You can also get a part-time job that sounds super simple, but like I worked at Vanilla Waves, which was like a clothing and lifestyle brand at a pop-up winter market, and it was the most fun thing ever. I made new friends, I got paid, and it was just such a fun experience. You can also do small things like surveys or play games for money. Like, there are so many different ways that you can supplement your spending with additional income, and it's just such an underrated thing to do, especially at a young age like this. Number 6 is to have sinking funds in your savings account. So have a savings account for different things that you know that you're going to need money for later, especially if you have a high yield savings account. This way you're earning money on your money. So for example, I have a travel fund. You can have a gifts fund. So if you know at Christmas time you're going to be spending a lot of money, put 20 bucks a month in there or something like that, just so you have a little bit of an extra cushion when that time comes around. Or for planning a trip. I spontaneously had a trip opportunity come up where I was like, oh my gosh, I need to do this. I need to book this right away. And it was several $1,000s because it was a big European trip. And thankfully I had my sinking fund, I had my travel fund ready to go, and I was able to do that and just pay a little bit more than what I had in my savings account for that. So it is super helpful to just have extra money put aside for specific things, and it makes spending a lot less stressful because you already know, okay, I have the money specifically allocated for this, like this is what I want to spend it on, and it just feels so much better. Lastly is to set goals for yourself financially, obviously. So for example, my savings account, I was like, I want to have X amount in it. This year I set a goal that I want to put X amount more in my brokerage account than I had last year. So when you set tangible goals like that, it not only makes you more motivated to achieve those because you don't want to feel like you failed, not to put pressure on yourself, but that's how it works for me. But it also is very easy to track your success when it's a numerical goal like that, because you can very clearly be like, wow, I'm $1,000 off, or okay, you know, in 4 more paychecks, I can have that goal achieved. It just really helps to make things feel more manageable. And it kind of gamifies it and makes it a little bit more fun, and it feels like you really accomplish something when you're able to complete that. Again, I am by no means an expert or professional. This is not professional advice. Take it with a grain of salt. I'm just speaking from what has worked for me as a 23-year-old navigating post-grad and figuring out, you know, having a full-time salary, what that means, what that looks like, how to spend my money, how to save it. It's a complicated thing, and I feel like there's so much information out there and it's hard to know what works for you and everything like that. So try things out, try something new, always learn about it. And this was just my personal experience, and I had some amazing people like my parents help me out and figure this out and teach me and show me new resources, and so I was very blessed to have that, and I'm hoping that I can help share some of this information with you guys. So if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I hope you all have a great day.